Welcome back to NTV News First Edition. A new Canadian study suggests that the key to a strong parent-child bond may not lie only in soothing those tears, but in sharing the laughter. Researchers found that playful, even those silly moments, especially with fathers, can meaningfully strengthen attachment. Well, to break down what this all means is Dr. Janine Hubbard with this week's Get Psyched. Thank you so much for coming in and telling us more. So let's start with telling me about the study.
So again, really interesting. This was a partnership, University of Ottawa and in Quebec, and they looked at 3 to 5-year-olds and their parents and asked, basically, parents, try to make your kid laugh. And they found that there's a combination. Some of it is movement, so things like I'm going to tickle you, and the chasing and the tickling and the wrestling. And some of it is things like, whether it's singing a silly song or doing a goofy dance together or anything that can elicit your child's laughter. And let's face it, if you've ever heard a really good toddler, preschooler giggle, they're pretty contagious. But what they found was that not only was it just kind of fun, it really strengthened the attachment bond. And we know how important attachment is in those early developmental years, particularly for dads. So I thought this was great in terms of information. I mean, it's a small study, and but it's the flip side, because yes, normally we study attachment by seeing what happens when a child is in distress. How do they seek out comfort? How do they use their parents to help soothe? So it's kind of, looking at it from a different angle.
So a lot of questions. So why laughter? Why is it? Why does it help the bonding? And why did fathers stand out in this study?
Again, that piece, it's really interesting, and I think they're still kind of exploring a little bit with that. And I think there's certainly some thought with all of it that it increases trust. It actually can increase some of the cognitive problem solving. Ooh, how am I going to anticipate which way am I going to go to get tickled? And I guess what it's really showing is the importance of that non-structured, don't worry about the educational tools, but in particular for dads, get engaged, do the wrestling, do the play fights, do the, and I don't know whether it's just kind of looking at it in a different way, but really encouraging, dads in particular, but moms as well. And there may still be a little bit of gender role in there that, again, this is guessing a little bit that some of that attachment happens because of some of the nurturing and the soothing and a lot of things that just come instinctively with that maternal connection, but really emphasizing that you don't have to be the one that your kid goes to when they've fallen down and hurt their knee. There are other ways that you can hang out and really help them grow and develop as little human beings. And I'd love to see what this looks like in older kids and teenagers as well.
So for people watching tonight, they're going, okay, and they're looking at their kids. So what are the key takeaways from all of this?
Be goofy with your kids. Be silly. Don't be afraid to look ridiculous, and don't be afraid to, put the educational toys away. Have some fun. I realize we may do a whole new segment in terms of the benefits of laughter on all of us. But even just one little fact that I was finding: do you know that a good laugh, not only is it so good for our mind and body, it can relax your muscles for up to 45 minutes from just one good laugh. So you know what? It's good for your kids. It makes sense. We want to see our kids. Yes, we need to, do the discipline. We need to set the rules. We need to all of that. But it's also okay to be goofy and silly and, just embrace, embrace the goofiness.
I mean, we've always said laughter is the best medicine. This just proves it even more.
Well, and it proves that it will help you with your attachment, which is kind of, like I say, an interesting angle to approach this with.
Dr. Janine Hubbard, thank you so much for coming in.
No problem.